Hello, we are back today with Luigi Maria Fierro, with whom we had a conversation a few weeks ago about HR analytics. Hi, Luigi Maria, good to see you again.
Hi, no, very good to see you. And it's the first time that we chat. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, that's right, that's right. So last time we had a very interesting conversation, I felt, and we had a lot of questions from the audience. So many people showed a lot of interest. We didn't have time to go over some. So today, thanks for taking the time. Let's take those questions one by one, and we'll take them in the order they came in.
Thanks.
So the first question we got was around the sort of global versus regional role in organization with regards to HR data analytics. So the question was, how do you balance the level of HR data analytics between the headquarter level, which usually focuses on big patterns, big trends, versus the country level, where typically a lot more details are required? How, in your experience, how do you manage that?
Yeah, it's a very good question for a couple of reasons. First of all, because it's showing that the struggle between balance global and local that is typical of a lot of the function within a company and a corporation is also common to the analytic, and in this case to the people analytic part. So we make no difference than the other function, and it means that there is no right or wrong. Meaning, if you go for a full centralization in terms of definition of solution and level of data versus a full decentralization, in both of the cases, you're going to have some pros and some cons. My advice is always to go back to what do you want to create in terms of value? Which are the issues that you want to solve? And which is the strategy that you have in the background? Let me try to elaborate a bit more clearly with a footprint or a view on the analytical side. If, for example, one of the key priorities is to start creating a common language around the people analytics, a common language connected to the way we use the data, a common language in terms of how do we interpret the data and how we trigger activities or actions, you should go for more standardized and global solutions. If instead on the other side, you're already at a pace or a scale where, for example, there is a standard definition of what continuous listening is or what a survey is, or how you define your footprint in terms of FTEs, in terms of cost, in terms of talent, more local solution could be also create additional value. Personally, I see a combination of the two where one is feeding the other. What do I mean? I mean that even under a concept of HR analytic or people analytic, you can think about product lines. A product lines is a kind of macro category of data and problems strongly interconnected that you want to try to manage end to end. An example could be the listening part or your listening strategy, a set of active and passive listening methodologies and technologies that are part of one single journey. Or another example could be the workforce analytics, an end-to-end understanding of your supply, demand, and the gap. When you have this product line, you can think about working on some standard element across the group. Standard element means that the way, for example, let's take workforce analytics, the way you define your supply, the way you define your demand, and the way you identify the gap should be pretty common across the group, because the way you define that in Asia should be the same you define in Europe, because there is a definition of supply that is part of how the company is giving a look to the talent, the cost, and the FTE distribution. At the same time, you can have some what I call use cases that locally are connected to a great value creation, either regulatory or in terms of business value creation. In that case, you can think about developing a local solution, always asking yourself, is the outcome of this local solution going to create some value for everybody? If the answer is yes, what you do, you feed back the new development into the global standard. It means you have to be quite flexible. Let me say, you have to be a bit open-minded. You have to define which are the pillars of standardization, but also you always have to be open to go vertical in a specific use case, always asking yourself, if this is creating value locally, can the same value be converted also for the rest of the group? Can the same value be exported to the rest of the group by copy-pasting or by developing similar solution in your product line? Again, I'm coming back on the fact that having macro product line is helping you to try to see the direction of value creation or the direction of the development, and having use cases that are not scattered, but are lateral development of a journey.
Great, thank you. So the next question we received was about HR information systems. So this person said, it sounds like the ING HR information systems was largely developed in-house. Is that the case? If not, were you using an off-the-shelf solution like SAP SuccessFactors or Workday? And if you were using, if ING is using an external system, how do you integrate sort of local modules, local solutions developed by ING within the analytics modules that are already available in those solutions?
Yeah, it's a good question. Very short answer to clarify, we are a Workday company. So when we discuss about overall HR solution or macro HR solution or the core of the HR solution are Workday connected. When we discuss instead in terms of the analytical part or the people analytic or the advanced analytics, then like a lot of companies, we always have a discussion in terms of two main strategic approach, the best of breed versus the standardization. And it's very easy, let me say, to compare the two of them. On one side, you ask yourself, is the value created by the solution that is not a standard one, overcoming the complexity of integration, data translation, and security? And on the other side, is the value of standardization, is the value of easier integration and higher data security, overcoming the value creation of the solution? And then you can choose if you want to go with the best of the market versus a standard. And this is exactly the same discussion that we have for a lot of our analytic investment. For some of them, for example, on the listening part, we decided about going with a non-Workday solution potentially, because we believe that the characteristics are helping us considering the current level of maturity of the company. For other type of solution, instead, we are considering more a Workday offer because we see the value of easier and faster rollout overcoming. Somehow, another key element that you have to consider that is very easy at the beginning to try to understand which of the two could work is the number of users that is going to use the solution, both in terms of definition of specificity and managing it, or using the final output. This is also helping you because the more employees or the more colleagues are using the solution, the more sometimes the value of standardization is going up. Now, there is the last step when you decide about not buying something is building inside. And again, we try to build solution inside, not because we are different than the rest of the market, but because we have a very good team in terms of analytical capabilities. And we believe that if we really try to identify the core of 3 or 4 key value creation elements, it's easier and quicker for us and even cheaper to develop them than to buy a full-fledged solution. Everything is starting again asking yourself, which are the 3 or 4 things that are really creating value? And if I'm focusing only on them, I'm still creating enough value for the company to go for a build solution versus buying. It's a very long answer, but it just, again, as quite often is happened, there is no right or wrong. There is not one single strategy. And always you have to go back in terms of like, how much the value that I'm creating is overcoming the implementation complexity. And this is making you taking the decision.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Thank you.